Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and I'm here to give you a little bit of a creative idea of what to do with Thanksgiving leftovers. That's a common problem with that holiday, right? Always so much food, and you don't know what to do with it, and so much of it winds up getting thrown out. Well, I have an idea. It's a tradition I've been doing for a couple of years now with my family. Thanksgiving leftover pizza. As you can see, here's the crust. I've already done a video on how to make pizza crust from scratch, so follow that if you want to do the whole process, but if not, a pre-prepared crust is good. It works too. So, first of course we add a little bit of oil to the crust as soon as it's out of the oven. This one has been baking for a little bit. Use a silicone brush to spread it around. This helps create a bit of more of a golden look to it, you know. It's part of the process. I went over that a little bit in the other pizza video. But, what does any of this have to do with the Thanksgiving leftovers? How exactly do you apply them? Well, now that we're done with the oil, I can show you. Okay, so for my own personal dinner, I start with the gravy. Instead of tomato sauce, you see. Nice, rich, poultry gravy, turkey gravy, whichever. Generally, you don't want to do chicken gravy, pork gravy, or, you know, turkey gravy is what works. So you spread that around. You want to get a fairly even distribution. Nice, and use the ladle to spread it around. This will take a little bit of time, but generally it's not too big of a deal. I'm showing this all in real time, so that should give you an idea of just how long this takes. Cooking the crust is the longest part. So, gravy as a base instead of the tomato sauce. That's usually what works. And next, of course, the turkey. That's the main part of any Thanksgiving meal. Now, of course, it's generally a good idea to make sure your turkey is free of anything like cartilage or veins or any of that other nasty stuff. And I know it looks like I'm doing mostly white meat here. There is a little dark meat mixed in. You know, which kind of meat you use or which you lean more towards if you do a mix, that's really up to you. But again, you want to make sure there's a pretty even spread throughout. So, yeah, I do use nearly this whole plate of turkey, and this actually does comprise a good chunk of the turkey that was left over. So, making sure it's, you know, not that bad to do. Doesn't take very long. Just make sure there's a nice even distribution across the crust. And any leftovers you might have from the leftovers, if you have a pet dog or something, I'm sure they would love it. So, that settles it for the turkey. And next, of course, we have stuffing. Yes, I know. Stuffing is comprised mostly of bread, and pizza is a kind of bread, but you know what? I don't care. This stuffing that we use has craisins and apples in it, so it's a nice sweet flavor. And again, you want to make sure there's an even distribution. You don't necessarily do as much stuffing as you do turkey, and a little bit got onto the tray, so have to be careful getting that off. But yeah. Stuffing is applied next. A little bit of corn maybe now. Corn's always good. And again, I don't necessarily do as much corn as I do the turkey or the stuffing. The corn's mostly there to provide a little bit of an extra flavor. And that's a little easy to distribute throughout. Yeah, I think that looks just about even with that. A little bit more. Little on the edges, and there we go. And next, of course, the mashed potatoes. Whoops. Well, making a mess is part of cooking, right? So, the mashed potatoes, when they're left over, they're going to be a little bit lumpy, so break them up a little first. And, you know, just sort of spread it around as best as you can. It's going to be in big lumps no matter what, so you're gonna have a hard time if you want to try spreading that evenly. So just put small mounds wherever you can, again making sure you have an even distribution. If some of it falls off, just be careful if you reach to put it back on. You don't want to burn yourself on the tray. And the mashed potatoes in particular, you know, treat it the same way you might treat ricotta cheese if you're doing a regular cheese pizza. That stuff tends to be more clumpy. Okay, speaking of cheese, here's the cheese. I'm just going with regular old mozzarella. Usually I do a mixture of cheeses on pizzas, as I do in the other video, but this already has enough flavors going for it that just plain old mozzarella is going to be enough, I think. So, just spread that around, and again, you want to make sure it's evenly distributed. That's a key to making a good pizza, even distribution of all the ingredients. So, again, there's a lot of cheese that goes into this, and this pizza, when you are done with it, is going to be heavy. Make no mistake about that. It is one heavy pizza, because it's got basically a whole Thanksgiving dinner, a whole plate's worth of Thanksgiving dinner on a pizza. Well, maybe even more than a whole plate's worth. So yeah, you're gonna need a lot of cheese to cover all of that. Just dump it all on. Now that that's done, get your mitts back on, because again, you don't want to burn yourself. And be careful picking it up. Maybe make sure the oven is open first, like I did. And yeah, usually I can do it one-handed, but Thanksgiving pizza is definitely a two-handed job. Put it back in the oven, and all you can do now is wait. And now that we've waited, it's done. Usually takes 15 minutes or so. It really depends on how much you have on it. You really just need to eyeball it. Once the cheese looks like it's cooked, it's probably done. And here we are. A gigantic Thanksgiving pizza, roughly the shape of a shield-type volcano. Let's make sure it's actually on the island. There we go. Best served with cranberry sauce and cornbread on the side. Maybe some extra gravy to pour on top, in case you don't feel it's enough on the sauce. And there you go. That's a creative idea of what to do with Thanksgiving leftover pizza. Hope this was a good idea for you.